It's not about what goes on your plants, it's about what's in them. If you're tired of buying garden seeds that don't necessarily thrive in your garden year after year, then this video is for you. Organic gardening gets a lot of love, and that's not without good reason. No harsh chemicals or synthetic fertilizers. But here's a thing that some people fail to realize. Organic gardening still leads on outside inputs like fish emulsion, fertilizer, and outside certified organic sprays. And many organic seeds, they're just F1 hybrids. These hybrids oftentimes do not allow you to save seed that will come back true to type year after year. Heck, some of these seeds even have something called male sterility in their line, which means that if you plant the seed, it may not produce the needed parts in order for the plant to produce seeds the next year. Even the organic heirlooms tend to be highly inbred and eventually lose vigor over time. Well, I'd like to introduce you to Landrace gardening. Landrace gardening flips the script. It's about saving seeds that do well in your garden year after year, which allow them to be locally adapted. Often, landrace gardening is often known as adaptive gardening for this reason. They begin to adapt to your soil, climate, and growing style, which allows your plants to become more resilient over time. Think about the seeds you buy from big producers. Do you know how they grew? Did they grow under plastic, in a high tunnel, with drip irrigation? Did they give them fish fertilizer once a week over the entire growing season? Is this something that you do in your backyard garden? Because I don't. I don't fertilize, organic or otherwise, and I rarely water, if at all. I allow plants to adapt to the situations that they're going through in the garden year after year. This allows my garden to adapt to me and my lazy growing style, with little inputs from the grower itself, simply only being given the things that nature can provide. Take this okra, for instance. It's been in the mid 80s to low 90s for the past week and a half. We've gotten rain maybe 2 days in short spurts, 30 minutes to an hour. And so they're starting to look a little sad. They don't have as much water as they would maybe like. But in order to adapt them to my growing zone and my climate, these okra will go on to survive without the water, without the input from me. They've got mulch and they've got roots in the ground. Eventually they'll produce seeds and they will become adapted to this garden. And I will also go on to save the seed from these that produce a pod type that is conducive to my goals. Saving seeds from your own plants allow your plants to adapt to your growing methods, your climate, and your soil. The strongest plants go on to pass on their genes and further the landrace line, the adaptive gardening style. There's a story I love about a farmer named Joseph Lofthouse. He lives in an area called Paradise, Utah. He lives in a valley between two mountains. And in this valley, it's fairly rigid, and he struggled to get certain crops to make it to maturity in his zone. Growing in this high altitude desert, he couldn't get cantaloupes to ripen. He was really looking forward to growing some cantaloupes for not only himself, but for the people that bought from him at market. No matter which variety he bought from the main seed producers in the country, he just could not get a cantaloupe to do well in his zone. What did he do? Instead of giving up, Joseph bought many heirlooms that were popular across the country. He planted them all out in one field, multiple different cultivars or varieties, some people call them, and he allowed them to grow in his zone all the way to maturity, as far as they could get, and try and save the seeds from them. The first year, he had 0 make it to 100% maturity, sellable for market. He did, however, notice that a few had made viable seeds. He saved those seeds and replanted out for the next season. Because he had multiple different varieties of cantaloupe all in the same field, they had cross-pollinated with each other, making an F1 hybrid. The following season, he planted out his field and had an over 50% success rate with the cantaloupes coming to ripeness. Year 3, 100%. This allowed the crops to adapt to his garden, his soil, his climate, and his growing style. This is an example of landrace seed saving in action. Seeds adapting to your overall climate, conditions, and yourself. It's recommended that people start with heirlooms if looking to start a landrace or adaptive gardening project. These heirlooms are oftentimes fragile and inbred if grown outside of the ideal scenario and condition. Landrace seeds are genetically diverse, open-pollinated. This diversity leads to more resilience, more vigor, and less chance of a total crop failure in subsequent generations. Sure, some plants do better than others, but something always survives. Still thinking of growing organic only? Here are 2 more reasons why you should switch to landrace gardening today. You're selecting for local traits, flavors, and textures that you and your community find valuable. From chefs to community members to you and your family at home, you can find the traits that you find most valuable, whether it be easier to cut into with the machata squash, an okra that germinates in colder conditions, or a sweet bell pepper that ripens red with thick walls and juicy skin. This not only provides for tastier vegetables for you, your community, and your family, but it also tailors them to your garden and your growing conditions. This also allows you to lessen your dependence on the seed companies, allowing you to become more seed sovereign. Once your landrace seed line stabilizes, you have seed coming from your garden year after year. No need to buy in more, which is a cost savings for you, but also more resilience overall for yourself and your community. Now that's real independence. If you want a garden that adapts to you, start saving your own seeds. Become more resilient, become ungovernable. And if you're already doing it, drop a comment of what projects you have going on, what's changed over time, what flavor, what textures, what things are you finding interesting. Let me know your projects. Look forward to hearing from you all. Peace out, produce people.